life, wherever I go, in my life, wherever I go, in my life, oh, you, and all hell, Lord, you, Lord, you, Lord, you, Lord, you. In my life, wherever I go, in my life, wherever I go. 222. So, dee. Hello. Is it okay? Does it sound all right? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are listening from. Let me know if you guys can hear. Can already see in the chat that it's stuttering. Okay at this end, it looks okay at this end. Good connection, so that's weird. Yeah. Just realised I might have forgotten about setup USB. No, we're good. We're on the right channel. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening from. This is LoopLab Mondays SGP Questions, sponsored by DistroKid, and we are sponsored by DistroKid. I'm gonna have to move my because I've just moved this thing over now. I wanted to. Where's my mouse? Go. That's what I wanted. So this live stream is sponsored. It's sponsored by over at DistroKid. DistroKid is a music distribution company. If you have got songs out there in the world, then DistroKid can help you. They push them out to all online stores and digital streaming sites around the world. And most distributors charge you every single time you release something. But DistroKid don't do this. They charge you one price per year, and that starts $22.99. And the great thing is, we have a link that gives you 7% off. How good's that? So scan the duration of the live stream, but that's the same QR code. And if you scan the QR code, you can get 7% off. Right, let's see what's going on, shall we? Stream it when stuttering isn't good. Dear. Okay. Okay. I'll tell you what we'll do. We're just going to take a quick couple minutes, 1 sec, and we're going to try and come back to you. Hello. How's that? Is that any better? Let me know in the chat if it's any better. Is it working? Does it sound better? Does it look better? Does it sound the same? Is it any good? Looks and sounds good. Well, that's what happens when you completely take OBS out of the situation. Hi! Should we start that again? So first of all, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are listening from. This is LoopLab Mondays, Ask JP Quiz Questions. This is sponsored by DistroKid. DistroKid is a music distribution company, and as I slowly grab my mouse, let's do what we did before, shall we? Let's do that, and let's do that. DistroKid is a music distribution company. They can help you get your music out everywhere, and that's the QR code. There you go, that one and that one. And then that way you can actually get stuff out to them. So you can release as much music as you want to within a year. Thank you very much for DistroKid sponsoring this live stream. That's what I said before when you couldn't hear properly. So there we go. We'll do another DistroKid one properly a little bit later. Now then, for those of you who have joined us, hello, good afternoon. I am just about over my cold. It attacked me viciously. It was not COVID. Something else weird. Because it was sunny and then it attacked my throat. And I don't know what happened. So there we go. I can get it 500 or more if I change it. Hey? Not kept up with it. I can get 500 or more if I change it. Used to be 150. Oh, you're talking about your... you're talking about your broadband. Right, okay. What I want to do is I want to show you a different look. And no, I'm not putting on a wig. I want to show you this. I have recently been doing stuff all about record. I've recently been doing Gigcast made by Boss, which got live musicians in thought. And the number one question I've been asking is, how do I get the looper into the Gigcaster and use the effects at the same time whilst whilst being able to utilize it and not get any kind of feedback. So after a good while, I've been able to figure it out. And loads of people have been asking this question when I do the Gigcast. It's like, yeah, but what about looping? So just to prove this point, there's our lovely audience. There we go. We can, beep things out. There you go. Da-da, which is quite cool. But then if we go into effects, we can change the effects. Now you'll notice, hopefully, here, this is my microphone and it's plugged into the back there on input number 2, and my guitar is plugged in on input number 1. And then the looper is actually coming in on 3 and 4. And I'm going to show you how I've done this. Now, I can turn the looper down here. We've got full manual control, no problem at all. And the great, it's not feeding back. It's not feeding back into itself. And I'm recording. I can record the entire session at 32-bit float whilst I'm nattering away. So I'm going to show you how I did this, because I've had loads of questions about it. So there we go. Interesting. Piers, the camera's a bit soft. Sounds good. I'd definitely rather have it that way around. Yes, well, that's a funny thing, because this camera here is my camera, my Sony camera. And the other one, this one here, looks a bit soft. And the reason it looks a bit soft is because it's a webcam. And it's one of the older OBS bot webcams. Let me prove it to you. So now, if it's doing autofocus, and if I move, It follows me. That's quite good, isn't it? So yeah, I'd rather sort of like have a little bit, that going on. So it's fun. I can change the focus to make it a little bit sharper. So let's do that while we're talking. So I'm going to actually show you how I've got this rig set up. So this rig is going into the Gigcaster, which is just down there, and then it's going out to the PA, which is behind me. I've got it pointing that way so it doesn't go into the microphone. I've got it turned down as well. See the volume level there. It's not very loud. I've also got it going into the looper. And then the key thing, output of the Gigcaster into the looper, that's not an issue. But then I wouldn't be able to record the looper into the Gigcaster. So what I've done is I've pushed it back into the Gigcaster, and now it's recording it as well on a separate channel. So if I hit multi-stream recording, I could then obviously pick all the information out of that, and I could record in multi-stream recording. I could record every single channel, and I could alter it later if we wanted to grab it, which is really, really cool. Let me just sort this camera out 1 second. That's camera. That's not that camera. It's that camera. There it is. Hi. Image. Focus. All right, I'm going to go out of focus. I'm just warning you now. The problem it's trying to do is it's trying to find out where my face is, and of course I've got a microphone in front of it, so it's like, ugh. Right, so if I do this, and then we move back, there we go, all good. Right, okay, so I'm actually going to turn the face tracking off. And all you do is raise your hand like that, and then now it'll stay where it is. So let's move back over to this look, which is this way round. And I've got the Gigcaster here, say microphones going in on input 2, my guitar's going in on input 1, which is this one here. And as people of the channel know, I use a wireless microphone adapter, which is called the Lacato WS70, I've got a couple of them because they're cool. And that's going in on channel 1. So if I look at channel 1 right now, we've got channel 1 going in there, and you can see that there. And if I go to channel 2, my microphone, and you can clearly see that's bouncing up and on. But then if I press play on this, that's the looper, and I've got, as I say, independent control of it. And I've got it on channel 3 and 4, so therefore it's actually that's become dead, and that's a stereo. So it's actually both of them together, which is really cool and really, really handy. And the reason it's handy is because I can use the effects of the Gigcaster should I wish to. So if I've got this on sort of mellow jazz, I haven't got it on anything at the moment. It's not switched on. So if I turn this on. Crazy, right? Hello, Ed. You're joining a weird time. So what we're doing is we're playing with the Gigcaster, and we've got it actually feeding into the back to this. Jazz is not bad, but I actually turn it off so you can just hear just the guitar going in. And you can play around with it a little bit so we can adjust it if you wanted to. If you didn't have an EQ on your guitar, I do, but there we go. And then, of course, you can do a couple of different things where we can have pre-fader or post-fader inserts and things like that. And it's amazing. It's an amazing piece of kit because right now, this white cable you can see here is the only powering it, and it's being powered. So I have the main computer, and it's being powered by that. It's recording at 30 float. It's recording a multi-track at the moment, and then I can just hit the mark button. And then I put a little marker there, so when I go back later, I know where I am, which is really, really clever. And then all the time, I've got this feeding into from there into my PA. So how on earth have I got it going into that, the actual looper? Well, the way we've done this is actually here, and it's actually using the headphone port. So headphone number 1, you'll notice is 100%. It's actually turned all the way up, and I've used the headphone port, and I've told the Gigcaster the only here in headphone port is my line 1 and line 2, so the guitar and the microphone. So it can't hear itself. It can't hear the looper. And then we've got a little aux to jack, and you'll notice the actual feeds are here, going in on inputs 1 and 2, like so. And then the out of the looper, which is there, is these two, and that's going on channels 3 and 4. So now, if I play or speak, it's not going through the looper. You can see that. You can see it's not coming in on channel 3. But if I was to create something on the looper, that's very quiet. That's very quiet. That's very quiet. So that's great. Now, the only way I can actually get that to work properly is by making sure that the output of 1 and 2 is going out of the headphones only, and output 3 isn't. Now, there's another thing you can do as well on the actual looper, and what you can do is you can tell it to not put the through. And the reason for that as well is because you don't want it coming in from the looper itself, going then back in and back in and back, and you can get feedback. So I've turned that on. So I'll give you an example of what it's like. So if I play now, that's only coming in on channel 1, my voice on channel 2, as you can see. 2, 2, 2, 2. If I was to change the RC600, so give me 1 sec. Now what you're going to get is you're going to get phasing. Because what you're going to hear is you're going to hear the looper and my voice. And of course, if I do that, it's going to work. If I pull that down or if I mute that, then you're going to hear it sort of, but then it's all going to be in one. You're not going to be able to record in multi-track. So the only way really to do this is to separate the looper from the Gigcaster. And to do that, we go into menu on the Gigcaster, we go into output and then routing. And then it's the routing in stroke rhythm, go all the way to the end. And it's an option which is a little switch that says input through. Now that's on by default, because if you just plug the looper into a amp, then you can hear your guitar and a vocal at the same time as hearing the looper. If we turn it off though, however, then it's not going into the looper. Now there's a downside to this. And the downside is, oh sorry, it's not my thing there. The downside is that if you want to hear the effects of the RC600 as you're playing them, you can't. So you can only use the effects for the loop, and you can't hear the effects of the output because it's not picking it up. It only picks up when you're recording. But this is the way around it for the Gigcaster and the looper to understand each other. So let me play you something. actually how have it where you've got a separate thing for the gig caster, and you've got a thing for the mic and the guitar. Piers has got a good question. Just need to pull a table close to me. Can you set up a headphone mix that has your voice, but have the Gigcaster's main mix with zero direct voice, just the return from the looper, so you can hear the vocal effects? So you cannot change the mix in the Gigcaster. Will they change this in a firmware update? I really hope so, because I'd really like them to change that. Whatever you've got set comes in on all 4 of these channels. So I really want them to change it so you can then go into each individual one, and then you could have a mix for each one. That would be really cool, because you could then have a mix for the guitar, mix for the vocal, or anything else like keyboards or whatever, and then that's your mix into the looper, and then you could do it that way. So you could have, obviously, I could do this in a different way. The way I could do this is I've only got headphone 1 out, sending it out, and it's sending it to the headphone port, because you can only use one headphone system. So you'll see these 2 are lit up, so that then the looper can hear them, but it can't hear itself. So you could obviously do that, and then the problem you've got is, of course, I can't send different things out to different headphone ports, because it'll only support one headphone port. So I really hope in the future they do more than one headphone mix, but that isn't the case, obviously, with the Gigcaster at the moment. The only other way you could do it is obviously by utilizing things like the USB. So you've got the USB here. We could have USB out from the Gigcaster going in, but we're using the USB to live stream. So if you weren't live streaming, you could do it that way. But obviously, I want to use it for live streaming at the moment. So there's obviously a different way of doing that, and you could obviously change it. Or is the headphone send post fader? It is, yeah, it's post fade. So it is post fade. So it's a bit of a shame on that one, but there we go. Does the PC get to the pre-fade levels, run the mix within OBS or whatever? So it gets from on the USB. I'm going to do this now, but I hope it doesn't break it. But I'm going to switch this over so you guys can see it. Hopefully, let's just move that off a little bit. There we go. Right, so if I go into the menu, what you've got here, hang on a sec. Just so you can see it a bit more. So we've got the menu here, and then we go to setup, and you've got USB setup. And then what you can do is you can do audio mode is 2 mix at the moment, and that way I'm just getting a left and a right out to you guys. And then you've got multi-track, post-fade or pre-fade. So if you go into multi-track mode and then you go into a digital audio workstation, which you can do, and we did that on the video, on the last video called Gigcaster and Your Computer, you can either have pre-fade or post-fade, and you can say what MIDI channel it's on. So that's very, very handy. But you can, from the out point, you're getting the post-fade. Because, of course, if I was to reduce you're getting obviously what's happening of the output of you're getting a duplicate of the same from the output of obviously the Gigcaster itself. Hope that makes sense. Right then, very quick question. There we go. It says bass favorable for that. 4 independent headphone mixes and NDI audio for the latest firmware, which makes dual PC or iPad and PC in my case setups very easier. Haven't seen Motus as they had one out. That's quite interesting. Yeah, I can foresee. I hope that the departments who look after this are obviously seeing the competition and seeing the potential for this, because the brain inside it's really, really powerful, and it can do some amazing things. But obviously, because it's got the things like the VE sounds, it's got the for the vocals, it's got the GT sounds for the guitar, and
it's the output and routing side that just needs tweaking, and it'd be really, really cool if you just go, yeah, headphones, change the colour of these or something, because they're all colours. I don't know if they're just green or just red underneath, I don't know, or if they're RGB. It'd be cool if they're RGB, because you'd have different colours headphones going to different places. Or you just go into the system and then you go, well, headphone port 1 can hear channel 1, 2, 3 and 4, but headphone port 2 can only hear channel 4, 5 and 6. That'd be really quite cool. But I've had so many questions about this. I've had so many different versions of this, of how do I incorporate my RC500 into this? How do I incorporate my 600? How do I incorporate any looper into it so I can use the effects? So the things, it's one of those things where if we go into effects, we can do a couple of things. Now, a nice little thing you can do, I'll just move this back over so you can see it. You don't want to see if we go over to the Gigcast and just, there we go. Let's zoom in a little bit. There we go. So if we go over to it, nice little thing. If you just swipe, one thing I haven't said in videos, if you just swipe from the main thing, you can actually see the buttons, what the buttons are doing right now. So if I was to say leave that the way it is, it says crowd, applause, beep, like that. And I've got it turned up a little bit. You've got air horn. You've got orchestra. Oh, lovely. And then you can just go bank up, bank down, and just have a look at what's there. That's fine. The alternative is if you press effects, then it's basically saying channel 1, patch increase or decrease, channel 2, patch increase or decrease, channel 3, patch increase or decrease, and these are MIDI. So this is MIDI CC20 and CC21. Oh, sorry, you can't see that. Sorry. Hang on. Wrong way. There we go. So channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, and these are MIDI, which is really cool. So I'm looking at, obviously, a way where I can tell this to go between two cameras. Right now I'm using, that's why I was trying to use OBS, but obviously it was having a problem with the sound. But this, right now I'm using Restream, and Restream can now take in multiple cameras, but they use keystrokes. They don't use MIDI CC numbers. So I'm trying to find a way where I can actually press this button, and instead of me using the mouse, and then what I can do is, instead of you seeing me do this with my hand, I can literally just press this button, and that'd be quite cool. So yeah, so these are obviously for you. You can do that way. But if we do channel 1, we go into they've got like one. We're not on any at the moment. We haven't got it switched on. Which is Mellow Janine. So now. Now, be aware I'm going to blow your speakers, so I'm just pre-warning you. But if I go to the next one, straight away. And that's on an acoustic guitar, which is fun. So if I was to... that way, there we go. So... Now, all of that has been recorded as well, and then we can obviously just step through them. And obviously, in the last video I did, if you haven't seen it, have a look at the video called Gigcaster and Your Computer. Set these up in a certain order, so they have a set list, which is quite cool because you can just go next, next, next on the actual pads, which would be really, it's really, really handy. So you can obviously just go through them. And depends what you want. It depends what sound you want. These are from the GT range. You've got everything from acoustic simulators, if you play electric guitar, right through to some really cool effects. Now, if you hold this down, it starts going real quick and goes over to the first one, which is called Premium Drive. which is pretty cool. The fuzz stuff is just really loud. This is a real fun one. This is you hardly hear the guitar, and it just creates like a synth sound. And when you go into what you can do is right, there we go. I mean, it wouldn't be a live stream with me without a wobbly camera, would it? As Pierce knows. So the great thing is we can go into the settings of this and we can actually change it. It's like you can on the GT range. So you can actually see all the different effects here. So we've got this SG effect, clean. We've got a wah. We've got this transient. We've got a noise suppressor. They've just brought out a new noise suppressor for guitars, which has a little LED on. And obviously you've got noise suppressor in here. You've got all these different ones. And you can go into each one and just say, well, what's going on? So it's overtone. Slow gear. Amazing. And then you can save it. So you can save each preset if you want to. I'm on U005. If you go into it, you've got user and preset. So you've got the presets themselves, or you've got the user ones. And there's absolutely loads of you can obviously have more than there are presets, if that makes sense. Because you can then save them for like 200 songs, things like that, which are really, really clever. Super high. It's meant for an electric guitar, but it's acoustic sim. I'm already playing acoustic, so of course it sounds doubly weird. So there we go. Right. So this is the easiest. Let the camera. This is the easiest way I've found for it to be going into the looper. But the good things are that it's recording, and the effects and the sounds are all 32-bit float. So you're getting really, really high quality, and you're getting obviously the mic going in. And the other question I got asked as well is, even though it's a mono in, why have I got two feeds here? And that's your output. It's not your input. So you can see that if you have a look closely on the display, it's actually two LEDs that are going in, and that's the reason because the output is stereo when you've got stereo effects. Now I've not got anything on there right now, but if we go to the microphone, and obviously we've got ones here as well. 2, ha, 1, and it's got the effect going on the channel there. 1, 2. Can you see that? So depending on what you need, it's the reason for display showing two channels to and a right for every channel. Even though I'm in mono, it's because it's the output. It's not showing you the output. So I hope that makes sense. Right, I think I've talked a lot, so do now is we're going to play a tune. Now, at the moment, the way I've got this set up, my guitar is not going into the TC Helicon, and my microphone. They could actually put the outputs, sort of headphone output. Where's the cable? There it is. This little headphone cable. I could put it so one's going into the guitar and one's going into the microphone of that, and then I can go into that and I can use the effects of that. I've just plugged it in for now into the input of the RC600. So therefore we can just hear it, and that's the simplest way to do it. We can still use the effects of the RC600, but at the moment, the way I've got them set up, it means that they are going in after the recording, and the RC600 only listening for it's not listening all the time, if that makes sense. So. Sunday morning, you're in my head again, and New England rising from the dirt again. All I have for now, just you. Say that I miss you. Travel from the lakes or Amsterdam. I wanna see you. Eyes are captivating my hands. All I have for now is just you. Without situations rising, birds fly against the wind. Show me the streets of London. Show me that's all I can do. I'll compromise my business. Just you. All I have for now, just you. All I have for now, just you. All I have for now, just you. just you. All I have for now is you. So hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching or listening from. We are live on the YouTube channel, the Twitch Bird X channel. So all on any of those. That's this live stream by our friends over at DistroKid. DistroKid is a music distribution company. So if you've got songs you want to get them out there in the world, then DistroKid can. They have loads of different promos. A track, then what you can then do is you can get promo cards, you can get a hyperfollow page, so they can just send people to one page and then you don't have to worry about it. And then there's loads of different things like splits. So and the brand new thing now is called Playlister. And Playlister is where you go finding playlists that sound like what you're playing music, or if you're doing things like synthwave music, for example, or you're doing singer-songwriter, and it'll find loads of playlists, but it'll also give you the contact for that playlist, so you can then obviously go and contact them and say, hey, do you want my song? And here it is, it's on Spotify, so you can then grab it, and then maybe you'll get loads more plays. So most music distributors charge you per release. DistroKid don't do this. They charge you one price per year, and it's $22.99. That's the starting price. I'm on the $39.99 one that gives me 2 different outfits, and that's Musicians Plus. And there's also a label tier as well, but with the link that's in the description box, that one, it's also that QR code, it's also that QR code. You get 7% off your first annual membership. So if you are planning on releasing music over the next 12 months, then you can release as much as you want. You can release as singles, albums, EPs, it's totally up to you. And that's exactly what we did. We actually did a live stream here in this very room. We recorded it, and then we actually did and made an album, and that's the album right there, which is Looping My Brain, with all the different tracks there. Even Pierce is on there. Look at that. Pierce's Dinner. Beep bop boo ba ba bop boo ba. Do you remember that? We've got Australian Ray on there. We've got loads of different people on there as well. So you can release an album just like Looping My Brain, and we don't Loop My Brain, but you can release a live album. That's what I'm trying to say. You can also release an acoustic album, a CD, single. A single, an EP, an LP, however many you want to. You could release an album a week, a day if you wanted to, because you can release as much as you want to for $22.99, and you're going to get 7% off as well. So thank you very much to DistroKid for sponsoring this live stream. The other thing as well I wanted to let you be aware of is if you're into looping, then you've got my looping course, which is basically for beginners, which is called Master the Basics. It is $97. You can also pay in 4 installments as well, to obviously spread the cost. And you can see there it says get 5% off by just putting the word subscriber into the checkout. That really, really helps me. It helps the channel go live by obviously buying my courses. And if you want to, obviously, you want to have a look at this beast down in the corner, the RC600. I also have an RC10. You can pay for it in instance as well. It is $197. All my courses they are lifetime access. What that means is, first of all, they work on every device, on a mobile phone, on a tablet, on a computer, doesn't matter which. And as long as you can get access to the internet. And then the other thing as well is if I suddenly add a load more things in, then what you can do is you get that. You're not going to have to be charged anymore. So once you've paid your 4 installments of $50 a month, or you've paid $197, you've got it for life. And you can obviously comment on videos as well, and then I answer those comments. And they take priority over everything because you guys are my customers. I'd like to say a massive thank you for those who've already bought the courses. If you haven't, or if you're on the fence, then I've got a couple of videos showing what's inside the courses. But also, if you ever want to ask me anything about the courses, then please do so. So there we go. Just wanted to obviously showcase that, if that's all right. Yes, there we go. I'm just going over to the chat and having a look, because the chat for some reason stopped on me, and then it started and went and just missed a load of stuff. So give me one sec. And it did make that noise as well. Oh, not Motu. You meant the Mackie. Right, okay. You didn't mean Motu, you meant the Mackie. Yeah. It's an interesting piece of kit. It really is kind of like figured out for podcasting though, from what I can see mainly. Also, it's got this sort of like basic mix. Oh, you must excuse me. This gold is still around. So it's at the tail end of it now. But there we go. So you go 100 more than the Gigcaster though. There you go. So obviously that's it. Nice. Nice. I got that's really cool. A synth chip. Oh, are you talking about the you're talking about the sound, the guitar sound. Where is it? It's a lovely sound. Guitar pad. There it is. I feel like it's like the beginning of like 2001. I don't know. Cool sounds coming from the electroacoustic. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. So the fact that we're playing it on a Yamaha APX 500, the original, by the way, Mark 1, that's a 6. Where are you? That's a 600. It's a 500. You can't even buy this anymore. Poor red. This is gold red. That's lucky lime. And there we go. Let's just change this over to. There's some nice sounds. There's like there's a really nice sound here called Traditional RT, which I did do on that video, but. Really nice. There we go. Do you like using the Morningstar MC6 Pro? Do you have it? I'm using it with the RC5 and getting good results. I do have it, yes. I've got the MC. I'm very lucky because they were sent to me by Morningstar to do reviews on the MC8 and the MC6 Pro. What I like about the 6 Pro is the display and also the amount of things you can do on one button press is insane. Now, with an RC5, you only got 8 assigned, but it's like having all of a sudden. So you've got basically, 7 pedals. You've got 6 pedals on the MC6 Pro, and then you've got the main button itself. But you can do undo, you can do stop, you can do clear, I think you can do clear. Can you do clear? I have to remember that. But you can play with the rhythm. It's really clever, and it's a great piece of kit. But the other thing as well with the Morningstar is that it's one of those things where if you just add stuff on for like an RC5, you're only scratching the surface of what it can do. All those ports on the back, you can add things like there's like Strymon sort of like pedals that are MIDI, and you can just plug them in. So as you press a button, it changes on there whilst changing on the looper as well. So you can press one button and like 16, I think it's 32 now, 32 commands can be sent out. So you can press one button and all of a sudden things change. So I could change things on the RC600 and I could change things on another MIDI pedal and a synthesizer all at the same time. So Morningstar are, I think, at the forefront of that. A couple of videos, the Morningstars, one about actually connecting it to Loopy HD at the time, and then using it as a floor pedal, and then also obviously the reviews themselves. But also when I did the MC8, I showed it how to do it with the RC5, RC500, and RC600 all on one video. So it's quite a good little video. That I quite like it. Here's a good question. Yeah. So let me put it to you this way. Is DistroKid better than CD Baby? I know you're sponsored. I am. But CD Baby, it's just $20 per release, one off. Is the membership option worth it more? If so, how so? I'm going to obviously say yes, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a secret. Well, it's not a secret. It's just a bit of a history. There's another company I used to be with, and now I'm with DistroKid. They have so many more options when it comes to things like promoting yourself. I think personally, I think that the options they just make it incredibly easy, and they keep adding things all the time. They added on things like Playlister. They added on things like Mixia. Mixia is an additional service, but you have to pay for. They added on things like Slaps.com. There's so many different options, and there's loads in there. I would highly recommend. Obviously, of course, I'd recommend. I'm sponsored by them. Hello, but you could always give it a try. I mean, at the end of the day, $22.99, and it's like, what is it, 21.30 entire year? Let's say you release an album. Okay, you've made an album. That's cool. What about your singles? What about the acoustic version of that album? What about a live stream when you did a gig? You gigged in a venue, really high quality venue. You've got the recording for it, and you played the songs. And people are like, "Oh my god, that'd be so cool if they came out on Apple Music or Spotify." You got to pay 20 quid per release. No, I'd rather pay, and I'm on $39.99. So I'm paying $39.99 for two artists. Me is John Paul, and then the other one is Tokyo Wasteland. So I'm paying $20 per artist. But the other thing with Musicians Plus is you can schedule the date of the release. You can schedule the pre-order date. Now, I know I just did a video about ignoring pre-orders. If you haven't seen that, go and look at it. It is a bit of a hard-hitting truth video you need to watch. But if you're brand new to obviously creating stuff, just get it out there. Just get it out there and get as many versions of it as you can. So if you've got the full studio album, I mean, how much did it cost you to mix down that album per track and master it? You can have as many versions of that as you want to out on DistroKid. You could have a remix, give it to a DJ and get it remixed. You never know. The great thing is it all goes viral, when it comes onto social media. So when you go over to DistroKid, then basically what happens then is it's actually being uploaded to things like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok as well. So people can actually grab your people can actually grab your track and then obviously make a reel out of it. And because of that, what that means is that then obviously every time someone uses that, you get paid. So nice little segment. If you're unsure, what is it? 4 coffees? Go for it. Go and sign up now and just have a look. Sign up, have a look around, and there are absolutely loads of videos out there about the insides of DistroKid. I've even done a couple myself, how to release music, and I've even got a video which is called How to Release Music the Simplest Way, and that's when we did that. So that's when we actually did the live stream album. So it just literally record like I'm recording now. Oops, sorry. So this is a recording in like 32-bit minutes. And then you can grab the audio of that, bang it into a digital audio workstation. You've got straight away. It couldn't be easier, in my humble opinion. So I'm obviously DistroKid. Yes, I'm sponsored, but I used to be obviously with other ones, and I've gone to DistroKid and I haven't gone back. So I think that kind of speaks volumes. I hope it does anyway. Pierce. Personally, I'll stick with my Audio 4C, maybe not for the finest preamps in the world, but the fact that it's a full dual interface is absolutely ideal for me to use. Fair enough. There we go. Anyone feel a lack of JP in the mix? Well, this is the great thing. I can adjust this mix accordingly, and we can bring this right up here if you really want to. Is that better? You can tell me. So we'll make it louder. Because I can. Love the Morningstar. Absolutely. I think that it's really there's loads of people who use them, and I don't know anyone who goes, Morningstars, I don't like them. Everyone who's got one has gone, they're brilliant. So there we go. Now. Right, well, I'll tell you a way around that. So, how much does it cost you to get your music on amp? Nothing. It costs nothing because it's sitting there, but people can download it. So you could have people digitally download it. Maybe you could do physical copies, get them signed. You can do merch, and that will pay for that. No problem. 1 gig. Do a live gig, and that's paid for it for the year. How about that? 1 gig a year, and that'll pay to keep your music on all the different streaming sites, through DistroKid. How about that? Right, cheeky question time, pal. Cheeky question: which makes you money, DistroKid sponsorships or streaming income from your release? That's my answer. Well, there's a bit out thing at the moment, streaming, and about how it's being paid or how it's not being paid. And there's a couple of labels that are trying to do something, or there's certainly one label that's trying to do something at the moment. And what they're trying to do is have it so it's almost like a tier system. So then the big A-listers, your Ed Sheeran's, Taylor Swift, they'll get more money, but then the independent artists will get less, even less than we're getting now. And depending on who's paying, like 0.04 pence per track. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see a music-centric payment. What that means is, let's just say you pay £15 a month or $9.99 a month, whatever it is, and you listen to 20 artists. Those 20 artists get the money. I think that makes much more sense, and I think musicians obviously would gain from it massively. Of course they would, but also I think the customer would be happy as well, because I think they go, well, I know my music's going to. If it's this tiered system, and you know £7 go into an artist that you don't like or you've never listened to or something like that, then it's a bit weird, bit of a weird way for me. But there we go. You're welcome, no problem at all. Give me one sec. We're going to go deeper into this, and let's just hope it lets me do this without having to... Yeah, we're in. Cool, amazing. Right, you want to know about this? I'm going to take you into the back room of DistroKid right now. So let's do this. Boom. Right, so this is what I've got right now at the moment. I've got a couple of things that are coming out, so I haven't got them on here yet. So this is my music. This is... you can obviously... it would help. There we go. Let's do that. This is my music. This is when you log into DistroKid. The back end of my... There's Loop in My Brain live, an unrehearsed part 1. What do you reckon, Piers? We'll do a part 2. We need Australian Ray back. And we do that. There was one I did, Carol of the Bells. There's a cover. There's another cover as well. That's Foo Fighters, but done as a piano mix. And see all these are all the different places it's been pushed to. Okay, there's loads, and it keeps getting pushed to more and more and more, so much so that they've now actually gone to another page, as it were, which is quite cool. So when you log in, you've got upload, my music, stats, splits, upgrade, bank, and then you've got loads more stuff here, which is awesome, by the way. You can get a social phone. You can get a phone for your fans so they can text you and stuff. You've got all your different account stuff here as well, which is amazing. And you've got master a track, upload a video, or upload music. They also do DistroVid, and DistroVid is obviously a separate payment, but you can then have your music videos, and we did that for Trying to Say Hello. So Trying to Say Hello actually has... let's click on it. There we go. So DistroKid, there we go. It's got the UPC and everything there. All good and no problem at all. We've got the lyrics on there. Here's the different stores it's available on. And you can go and add more stores if you specifically took ones out, like if you took YouTube out, for example, or Instagram and Facebook. And then you can actually go to the hyperfollow page. So if we did that right now, it's probably not going to show me. No, there we go. Let's change that over. So we'll go to that one. Go. Yes, that one. There you go. So now the hyperfollow page for that, there it is, Try and Say Hello. So you can play it. You can basically play it here. And then you can also obviously add it into different places. So it depends on where you want to be and depends on where you want your music to appear on. So there we go. But I wanted to show you a couple of other things as well. So let's go into... I have to turn that on again. There we go. Let's go back to upload. Upload music, upload video. That's fine. Cool. You've got stats, you've got splits. Splits is basically if you're in a band, there's 5 of you, and you want to split the money in certain ways, or you want to split it with an agent, or you want to split it with music collaborators, you can do that, no problem. This is obviously the different prices. So it's $1.92 a month. I mean, it's less than $2, and we can give you 7% off with that link. And that's the one I'm on. So everything in normal Musician, but Musician Plus, you can sync lyrics, daily streaming stats, customizable label name, which I've got, release date, pre-order date, customizable iTunes pricing if people want to buy, and you've also got iPhone app access, which you get there anyway. You get that anyway, no problem. It says here 21 different tools included. So let me show you. DistroKid, Mixia, DistroVid, Social Phone, Instant Share, which is brand new. Basically, what you can do, actually have sort of like a file system. So you can share stuff. If you're working on stuff, you can share it. And these are the goodies that I quite like, which is good. This is Playlister. You've got Wheel of Playlists to actually spot. DistroKid have their own list on, and we can actually put our. Let's do it. Let's put our song on. What should we do? Should we do? Let's do that one, and then we have to connect. I'll do that later. But basically, what you do is you can spin the wheel, and it'll tell you where that is going to be on the playlist, which is quite fun. And then this is the big one, promote yourself. So you've got hyperfollow, you've got mini video generators, promo cards, which is promo cards is on. It just saves me so much time. So all you do is pick a release, all I now have acoustic version, generate the promo cards, and then boom, done. I can just download 8 or 10 of these, release them over a sense of 3 or 4 weeks, and then the music will be on Instagram, so I can then pick the music in the reel, and then it's there. That's it, straight away. You can add some, obviously, you can do stuff with videos as well. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that's really giving you a bit of an insight, because that way you've got a lot more promotional stuff. There's even more. So obviously we've just gone into, promo cards, but if we go into promote yourself, as I say, you've got upstream there, special access. This is really cool, because what you can do is you can find, if you've never released music before, what you can do is once you've released music through someone like DistroKid, and then go and claim. Now, how many people do you think are under the name John Paul? So I went to go and claim my music to make sure it's like, hey, that's me, as opposed to John Paul Young or John and Paul, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, anything like that. So you've got Spotify, Apple Music, Artist Channel, Connect, the Twitter Collective, connect your Twitch channel, so therefore it knows, and you've got also Gold and Platinum monitoring there as well. You can enhance your music, so what you can do is you can obviously do Spotify Canvas Generator, which obviously, if you have a look at some of the big ones now, they have this those videos going around. You can make your own lyrics, upload the lyrics, the credits, and you've also got Dave the AI, and you can protect your music with DistroKid Vault and Lock. And then also you've got the help there, even Fiverr. So you've obviously got lots of different things that you can do right there, right on the page. It's really nice and simple. You've got the bank, you've got upgrade, as I say, you've got your stats, and you can just go to My Music, which is where we started, which is here, to show you obviously what's there. As I say, I've got a couple more things that are coming out in the next couple of months. So we've got 2 songs coming out. We've got Stray, and we've got Whiskey Jar as well. I'm just waiting for my good friend Joe McAdam to put his vocals down on Whiskey Jar, because he runs the Whiskey Jar overnight night in Manchester, and then we'll actually bring that out, which would be really, really cool. Right. Right to organisations and more information about listeners' counts, such as they have never had. They've added still driving up money into it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, how does DistroKid handle publishing? That's a very good question. Now, I've always written my own music, so therefore I'm the publisher, as it were. I'm the label. If you've obviously got a publishing label, or if you've got something else, you'd have to obviously contact them and get it done that way. So there we go. Question. I have my main music looping in studio, and then I compose film scores. Ooh. And have 2 or 3 tracks. Would I have to sign up all different accounts, or the same? No, you sign up for one account. You have different lists. So depending on how many you want, with Musicians Plus, you can actually do it with you can do basically 2 artists, and it depends on how you look at it. So if you're going to be the person on the side projects who is going to be releasing all the stuff under different names, then you're probably better off going for the label tier, which is this one, Ultimate, between 5 and 100 artists. Now that is $90 a year. Everything in Musician Plus, but you've got obviously daily streaming stats and everything else. You've also got 1 terabyte of instant file sharing. You've got gold monitoring, and you've also got contact info for thousands of playlists, and that's fine. But this obviously gives you between 5 to 100 artists. Now, you have to have a look at this because it's not just that price at 100 artists. It does go up. So if you were to upgrade to that, which I'm not going to click right now, then it goes from, and it starts at 90. However, if it's all name, and then you've got another tier, then Musicians Plus is fine, and that's what I do. It depends on what you're releasing. But yeah, it's basically, if you've got you also compose film scores. The 2 or 3 other side projects, if that's going to be completely under a different name, then yeah, you're going to have to obviously add them in. But if you were like, this is a side project, but it's actually me, then Musicians Plus would be fine, no problem. Yeah, well, that's a great safety feature. Of course it is, because then what you can do is you can give that out to people if you're doing gigs, out to club promoters. You can give it out to loads of different people. But then, of course, if it's like, oh, this is JP's phone number, off, you can just delete it. You can just get rid of it, and it's not your actual phone. It gets forwarded to your phone, which is really, really clever. So yeah, it's a clever idea. Comes down to how you view the purpose of releasing stuff versus. It's essentially live stream. Then part 2, DistroKid's really cheap. If you're trying to make money from releasing recorded music, though, it's sometimes a gamble. Be interesting to see how the offering post bamboozle acquisition. Yeah, I mean, it depends, and it depends on what you want, obviously, with the changes. So there we go. I really might be considering DistroKid. Love the promo cards. Honestly, the 2 things for me that have always been the thing is promo cards, because it saves me time. I'm lazy. And the other one is hyperfollow. So I've been battering on about hyperfollow. I'm just going to take this off because it's hurting my shoulder. I've been battering on about hyperfollow for years, actually. And hyperfollow is probably the most important thing. So I'll give you an example. You play a live gig, and people go, hey, and then you walk through the crowd, or you kind of like talking to people. Cool, where can I hear your music? First of all, anywhere. That's not good to say. First of all, it's on every major streaming site. Cool, how can I listen to your music? Well, you can just go to this website, or you can go to this bit. So I can just obviously give you a hyperfollow page for the latest single or the latest album. If you're promoting that album, you can just go, here's the album. You choose how you listen to it. Now, you can listen to it right there on that web page, on the hyperfollow page. So let's go back over to my DistroKid bit. Can you still see that? Yes, you can. Okay, good. So if I go to, let's just say we're promoting Loop in My Brain. Let's go over to it. All the different songs are there. Lovely. They've all got their own ISRC codes and stuff like that. And there it is. So if I go visit this, so if I give people this, I can make a QR code out of that. Oh, hang on, you can't see it, can you? Hang on. If I go there, wicked. Right, so come on. There we go. So now this is the web page which has got Loop in My Brain on it. You can listen to it here. You can literally just press play and it'll give you a bit of a preview and this, that, and the other. And then at the moment, I've just got it on these 4. That's it. So I've got Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, and Deezer. And then when you give that a click, it will take you to the right place with that album on. That's it. How easy is that? As opposed to going, oh, hang on a minute. Yeah, can you find me on Spotify? This is my name. Oh, no, it's not that one. It's the other one. Oh, no, that's not my face. It just takes all that out, and the simple thing you can do is you can actually get like QR codes made very, very easily now. Hence, whoop. So you can make QR codes and just have them like almost like business cards. I did a gig a little while back, like not too far long ago, September, and beginning of September. Where are we? 16 days ago. And I've got a business card, and it's got a QR code on the back. And then what I do is I just leave a load of business cards on the tables because it was a sit-down ticketed event. I was the support act. Leave them on there and go, and I mention it. I say, by the way, my cards are there. Scan the QR code and you'll get my album. It's nice, isn't it? It's a nice little thing they weren't expecting. And that's a nice thing at a live gig, I think. Certainly if you've got a ticketed gig, it's really, really good. So yes, there we go. What happens to your music if you do not renew your membership next year? It goes. However, there is an option, and I'm going to show it to you now. Once this decides to do what I want it to do, that one. Right. So there is an option. What you can do is you can obviously, if you don't pay, then you're gonna lose out. Okay. However, if you scroll down here, you've got what's called Leave a Legacy. Now, Leave a Legacy, basically, DistroKid will never delete the album, even if you cancel your account or your credit card's declined. You can always choose to delete it at any time or not. You will continue to accrue royalties as normal. Leave your legacy for future generations. $49 one-time fee. Okay, so if you go, do you know what? I want to leave that on there forever. It's an album that's become really popular. Then you can do that, and that's really, really cool. There's a couple of other cool ones as well. So you've got things like Store Maximizer. So as new streaming sites come out, they'll push it to those places. You can do YouTube Content ID. You have to be careful with this one, certainly if you're a content creator on YouTube, because if I start playing my own music, I'll get a strike going. You've used someone else's music, but it's actually mine. So you have to be careful by adding that on. I've got Discovery Pack on there, so it would be added to global databases, obviously, as more things come available. But Store Maximizer, new online stores, you don't know, in 3 or 4 years' time, a new online store may come along and it might be the one that everyone jumps on, and then that's it. You're not on there. So if you take that, obviously it's yearly, but this is a one-time fee. So if you're worried about, obviously, your music and, payment and things like that, if you've done a gig where you've been paid more than $100 at a gig, then you could release the album, still have enough for an entire year, and you could do Leave a Legacy. So think of it that way. You could do it that if you wanted to, which is quite good. Vice. Vice business cards are really, really cool. I've got Tapni, so Tapni, not sponsored. Yeah, you could do that absolutely. If it'll do a link, if it'll pick up a link, you could do that. You could do your hyperfollow as a link, which is cool. Snap, that's cool. Nice. Is that per album? Yes. But the Leave a Legacy is per album. Yes. Per album, one-time fee. So it's per release. So if you want to do it for every single, then yes, it's going to get pricey. But if you were to do it for an album, you might want to do it for the albums, but not do it for the singles, for example, which could be the same. There's also this big thing about, do I release a single, and then when I release the album with exactly the same track on, what do I do? We just take the same ISRC code and add it. And that way you keep all your hits, which is a bit of a cool little trick. So there we go. Yeah, so I hope that's given you a bit of clarity about DistroKid. I wasn't actually planning to go into DistroKid today. I thought, well, do you know what? Why not? We're getting asked about it. And this is LoopLab Mondays, where we will talk about, obviously, anything. So if you've got questions that you're too afraid to ask someone, you can ask me. So obviously we talk about looping. That is one of the main things, hence the word LoopLab Mondays. But we can talk about anything you like to. If you want to talk about live streaming, if you want to talk about, obviously, DistroKid and things like that, we can talk about it. There's no problem at all. If you want to talk about this crazy camera that I've got, if I move, it follows me. So if I do this and then go, oh, there's a bin there. Don't look at that. There you go. So that's the OBS bot camera, which is cool. They're bringing a new one out, which is called the Tail. I really want to get my hands on one. They look really cool. And then, obviously, we've been talking about this. It's still recording, by the way. Recording my voice. We can just put a mark on there. Mark. There we go. And the great thing about this is we can use this for lots of different things. Now, I've got this set up at the moment for singing voice. So if I go into this right now, the way you change this, and I'm going to have to move the camera again, aren't I? Oh. There we go. So this is actually on, you see, patch user 1 rock. Up here, you can see a little sort of music clef. I hope you can see that. And if you give that a tap, then you've actually got access to singing, talking, or console. You may find that the one that you want is in a different one, even though you're singing. So if we go to talking voice, listen to that. Now it's all changed. It's now enhanced bright. And then if I go over to console, ha, 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 wow. But yeah, there we go. So if we leave it on bright enhance for now. But you've got loads of different effects there, which are really cool. And you can obviously start playing with them depending on what you need. And then you can start saving this. And the great thing is if you watch the video, the Gigcaster and your computer, you can start seeing how I used the app, which is on PC and Mac, and you can start making your own playlists. So instead of actually tapping through them all and going like on the touch screen, what you can do is you can actually start using... Whoop, wrong way. You can start using these. So you just press this, which is effects, and then I can just step through the different effects so we can go through the different ones. And obviously we've got these different ones here. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Hello, 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 hello. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. But it depends on what you want. So you can obviously set this up in such a way that you just go next, next, record, next, 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 and then that's your gig. Really, really clever, really cleverly thought out. As I say, the only thing I want them to do is I just want them to update it so you can have different mixes. That would make this thing perfect for me because the other thing you can do with these right now, it's under effects. And if I give this a tap, these are sounds. But what I'm going to show you is, I'm going to just obviously zoom in again. I'm playing with the pads, right? So if we go into menu, pads, these are the sound pads, and you can see right here, effects. Now, what we can do is we can change these, and you can actually go through the banks. There's absolutely loads of banks here. So let me just go to this one. So this bank actually says, let's have a quick look. Channel 2, patch number, plus something else. This one. There you go. That's bank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. USB effect on and off. Mobile effect on and off. Bluetooth effect on and off. USB sound level. See, now they've changed. So if I do this now, these are different. These buttons are different. So you can have them. Bank 7, bank 8, they don't have anything on, and you can program them up how you want. So this is obviously using them as effects pads as opposed to sound pads. I hope that makes sense. But you can actually have it in such a way where these just become the 8 that you need for a gig, and that's it. So you can say camera 1, camera 2, turn the effect on, turn the effect off. For guitar, vocal, and whatever you need. So this becomes really, really intuitive when you start setting it up the way you want it. Right. Boop. Home. There we go. Yeah, there's a nice little home button. When you're in the menu, there's a home button up there, which is quite useful. Ooh. There we go. Right, the chat's going mental. What you all saying? Really might be considering. Cool. What happens to your music? You knew it. Yep. Use Vice, business cards. Peers. Does that content ID thing give you the option to OK particular infringement? And what about where you don't claim ownership to the tune in question, just the arrangement and the mechanics? Now, when you get into arrangement and mechanics, this is performance rights. So you have to be careful because you need someone else to do that. You need another company to do things like mechanical and performance rights. Because performance rights, obviously, for you is obviously I've performed this track and I've made this track and everything else. So when you've got that, obviously, when you're talking about obviously just arrangements and stuff, the arrangement is for the album and you've performed the album. So there's two elements there. But when you talk about mechanical rights, it's difficult. It's different now because there's nothing physical. You're not making a CD or a vinyl or a tape. It's on digital. So you need to have a look at that, obviously, from a point of, obviously, mechanical rights. The mechanical rights, obviously, the digital copy is still mechanical, I suppose. But yeah, you need to have a look at that. It's something I'm not too up on, and you're getting into lawyer-based stuff. So obviously, there we go. Now, more questions about the RC5. I found it fascinating. I used RC2 for many years, then the RC300, using an Roland R07 for audio capture. It's small and compact. How does the 300 compare to the RC5 functionality-wise versus space-saving features beside the tracks? That's a very good question. So, using the RC2, then using the RC300, and now you're on the RC5. So clearly, whatever tracks you need, it doesn't matter. The big one is going from 300 to 5, other than the tracks, is effects, rhythm section, and the big one, 32-bit float. Now, people are like, oh, don't care about 32-bit float. Well, you should, because when you get to things where you're adding 5, 6 plus loops on top of each other, the audio quality starts getting muddled and a bit weird when you obviously add loads on the older loopers. They're not bad, they just obviously can't handle that amount of information, and they like 2 times the audio volume every time you do it. With the RC5, 500, 600, 505 Mark II, any of the ones that got 32-bit float, then what they're starting to do is they are actually using that 32-bit, and it means that there's kind of no gain level. You can just obviously adjust it and it's fine. There's no digital distortion, not that I've found. If there's any kind of distortion, it's because I've pumped it into an effects processor and the digital distortion's on that, and the output of that's gone into the looper, and the looper's just going, well, that's how I can hear it. That's it. But the output of the 600, the output of the 5, the 500, the 505 Mark II, perfect. When it comes to recording, that's another thing as well. Obviously, quality for recording. If you're recording your tracks down for things like releasing with DistroKid and stuff like that, then that is obviously really, really important as well. So from an audio quality, the rhythm sections are much more customizable, and you've also got the parts. So when you get up to things like the 500, really, really useful. With the 5, you've obviously got some limitations on functions. There's some functions that are in the 500 that are not in the 5. There's some functions that are in the 600 that are not in the 500. And they've done that deliberately to make you obviously go for the flagship and things like that if you want all those different functions. The number one thing most people want is more assigns in on RC5, because you have 8 and you have 16 on things like the RC600. So it depends on what you want to do with it. But I would say, obviously, if you're looking at space saving, that's a really, really cool thing. You probably fit all that into that sort of Boss RC, what is it? This little 30 plastic case, which is cool, and that's really, really cool. Obviously, from gigging and sort of going into busking and things like that, you could obviously do that. That's the nice thing about the 5, of course, is the physical space. So you marry a 5 with a Morningstar, you've suddenly got, as I say, 7 pedals, like an MC6, sorry. But then you have to kind of look at it and go, well, how much is the Morningstar? How much is the RC500? How much is the RC5? How much is the 600 now? So when you start adding all these things on, well, you could actually get 6 tracks with a load more effects, and you can also make your own rhythms with an RC600. If you start buying all these bits to attach to a 5, you get to that next price, that next tier, it automatically happens. But yeah, it's a very good question to ask. And it, again, down to tracks. If you're happy with obviously that one track and you can layer on the top with the overdub and you can take that overdub away, so technically it's like 1.5, 2 tracks, then great, awesome. It depends on how you play and what you need from a looper. But I would say, obviously, I've always said this, unless it's a very specific track that's being looped or it's been made from loopers, then don't change your performance for the looper. Make sure the looper fits into your performance. And that's obviously a really, really big thing, certainly for capturing audio, certainly for performance, and certainly for playability. I hope that answered your question. Oh, no, hang on. That one first. when I sing a folk song, I claim copyright in my recording of it. If someone uses my recording of Poor Wayfair Stranger on a TikTok vid, I want my pound of flesh. But if someone sings and then neither I nor Ed Sheeran nor can have any claim on it. So if someone uses your audio in their reel, you'll get paid, because that is your, like, so if someone just today went and grabbed one of my tracks from anything I've released through DistroKid, used it on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, or something like that, I get paid because they're using that track. It says add music, and you select the music. That's it. If someone plays that, then it's up to me to claim that, and that's why labels have thousands of lawyers. But the fact is that if it should be good enough now, and I've done it even where I've played someone else's thing here when we used to do Tuesday Tunes, and it's come up on YouTube going copyright claim because you played Tom Petty's song, or you played this song, or you played something else, and you share that with the person who's got the rights to it, whether that's the label, the artist, whoever. So that's fair. I think that's fair, you know. So definitely, if you were to play something and then someone used that in your reel, and then that reel went viral, then that music is being used in that reel, and you select that music. So there's a track which is called Wonderlust, which went round like Facebook and Instagram all of last year, which is AK Wonderlust, and it's a wonderful, beautiful piece of track, and loads of people put it on like travel vlogs and things like that because it just fitted really well, and it got thousands and tens of thousands, if not millions, of streams. So all the more for it. So that's quite good. Anyway, there we go. Oh, that's interesting. I'm now using the RC2 as a sampler, loaded on some song things like crashes, duck sounds, random things to make my gigs more interesting. Duck sounds? What else could you recommend reusing the RC2 for? Backing track machine. So I did this with the RC5. I did a video on this, and the video just keeps getting views because people want to do it. You could have it as a full-blown backing track machine. The problem with the RC2 is obviously the recording limitation, but you could technically do that. You could maybe use it as a backing track machine, where if you've got songs that you want for the end of the night, you just want to keep going, one press, play the song, you play over the top, and people are happy. Obviously, it depends on what... Ducks. My brain's gone. Duck sounds? Crashes, duck sounds. Love that. Random things. Yeah, you can use it like a sampler, of course, if you've got, obviously, duck sounds. You've literally just hit me with a wet duck. That's quite funny. Yeah, you could use it, obviously, that. Can't use a 500 as an audio interface if memory serves. Really? You've piqued my interest. 1 second. Can you use the RC500 as an audio interface? That is the question we are looking at. This is why I'm now looking at the parameter guide incredibly quickly. In the meantime, while I'm looking at that, you guys can look at this. This is my looping course, which is Master the Basics. It's a beginner's looping course. And if you put subscriber in the checkout, you'll get 5% off. It's $97, but you can actually get it at 4 months at $25 a month. So you can do that, no problem. You've really piqued my interest there, Piers, because my brain thought you could. Maybe I'm wrong. I am wrong from time to time. What I'm trying to find is the back of it. Yeah, so it has got micro USB. But I can't for the life of me remember if you can use that as a audio interface. I will find out and get back to you. But yes, sorry, that one. That's my looping course. So if you want to, obviously, I've been looping for over 15 years and using lots of different devices. And loads of people ask me, how do you loop? How do you get started in looping? My advice now is, well, this course right here. Get this course, and in that way I can actually take you through it. Let me just put this into context. If you were to actually book me for a one-to-one consultation, which you can do, by the way, then the charge for that for 90 minutes is $160. Actually, $169. So $170. So you're getting more hours out of me by getting that course than you are then booking 90 minutes with me, because there's more than 90 minutes worth of content in that, and you can replay it and watch it as many times as you want to. So I just want to let you be aware of that. There we go. Next one. On the RC5, I recorded blank audio and then line up the rhythm track, and therefore I can instantly record over that. I notice you do a lot of vocal percussions instead of rhythm tracks. I do. So personally, I don't use the rhythm systems at all. Not say at all, but I very rarely use the rhythm systems. I'm trying to actually use them more, because with this new little pad that I got, the Tidal pad, then that is quite useful because I can play them. And then on the RC600, you can import the rhythms as a loop. So you can record them like play them like a hand sonic almost, and then you can record them in as a loop. That's quite good if you've got, obviously, you do, if I do like I do a 2 hour show now. So I do a 2 hour show. If I'm in a pub doing covers, I don't stop, because if you do 2 45 minutes, people leave. Go, oh, should we go somewhere else? Well, if you do 2 hours, they stay, and I think that's quite good. The pub landlord gets more. Gets an extra half an hour out of me. And then the other thing as well is it means it can charge a bit more. So that's quite useful for that. So then the reason why I'm talking about all that is because later on in the evening, when you want the thing to keep going, maybe you just want a bit of a kick drum that's not just you going or anything like that. You want an actual kick drum and a snare. So it'd be quite cool, like kick drum and snare, to add that in as the loop. It just gives it a bit more oomph. So that's quite useful. You can obviously do that. My good friend John Wynn, love to him at the moment, as he's put on social media. He's had a little bit of medical trouble, but I'm sending my love out to him. He does a set list where his first set is all loops made up in the spot, and that's it. His second set is kind of like semi-backing tracky, so then he's made them all, and he hits go, and in that way he's got the rhythm section, he's got the bass already in, and it means that people stay on the dance floor, as opposed to the song ends, you then spend 3 to 4 more minutes building the next song up, and they're going, I'll go and get a pint. So it just makes it a little bit more entertaining. So things like that are quite cool. You could obviously using a blank audio, that's really cool, because of course you could do that. One thing you could do is have a look at setting up the RC. Hang on. Oh, I've just lost. Where are you? Yeah, there you go. What you could do with the RC5 and the RC2 is see if you can sync them together. Don't hate me for saying that. I can't remember if the RC2 has syncing capability. I haven't used one in ages. Boss RC2, there it is. Oh, bless. Goodness me, someone. Okay, no, it's the RC5. I was going to say, I just saw a price and was like, oh, no way. And it wasn't, no way. There we go. You've had claims on here for using the tune of songs that are 250 plus years old. Wasn't picking poor as at random. No, that's fine. There are a couple of songs that are known as traditional. So there's traditional songs. The songs that are owned by the families of the families of the families that are over so many hundred years old. There's a couple of songs that are just traditional songs, and that's it. It's just a traditional song, and anyone can play it. Can't think of one that springs to mind, but basically there are ones out there, and you can play it, and you don't have to claim it for anything. But you just say, this is a cover, this is what it is, and that's it. But there's a couple of them that will all still go to you, or there's no royalty for the song side of it. But yeah, there we go. Yeah, since some of my gigs need family friendly content, instead of swearing I use duck noise. I like that. And you're gonna get one of these. That's the other thing you could use. You could use the Gigcaster and I don't give. There we go. That's quite funny. I like that. That's really funny. Let's just have a quick look here. Yeah, so if I was to go up a bank. Whoa. There's somebody at the door. There's loads of different sounds on here, and they're all preloaded in, but you can actually, with the Gigcast, you can change them for whatever you want. So maybe you could do that. You could use this and put all your duck sounds into here. Moving swiftly on. Let's have a quick look. So I'm toying with dropping some birthday money on... Ooh, Pierce is moving away from Loopy Pro. Right. If you go through my YouTube channel, I've not done a video, like an explainer video or an instructional video about the 505 Mark II. I actually haven't. But I use it in the live streams, and I use it because it's so incredibly fun, and it really is. It's fantastic for improvisation, and you know this because that's where that album came from. Literally, I had a synthesizer on an iPad plugged in to the USB of the 202 with a keyboard, and obviously if you go through previous live streams, if you go to the Tuesday Tunes number 5, it was Tuesday Tunes 505. So if you want to have a look at that, that's obviously a really, really good one to watch, because I explain how I was able to get the iPad talking to the MIDI controller at the same time as being plugged into the 505. That's really good. But yes, it is an absolute beast for creativity. There are so many people on things like Twitch who do stuff where they live stream with a 505 at the heart of it all. And the reason for it is because you don't need to add things like a mixer to it, because the loops and the mixers, as long as you get your sounds right, you're fine. You know, you've got 5 loops there to do stuff with. Loopy Pro is fantastic, and it is. There's no denying that. And it's a game changer for people who want to get access to a professional looper, but don't want to drop £200 or £300 or more. You know, you can drop very little money now and get a professional looper on an iPad. So yeah, I think it's I love it, and I think it's a fantastic thing. There's, if you want master classes in the 505, go and look at the Swiss Beats YouTube channel. They do everything to do with beatboxing, and it's not just beatboxing now. It's not like Boots and Cats. They are programming these things up. Like the 505 is the heart of it all, and they're programming it up to when you just go it's actually doing this oscillating, going, and all you're going is just to trigger it. And then you've got other things added on as well. So if you ever want any master classes on that, go and have a look at the Swiss Beats. Go and have a look at the Boss Loop Station Championships. They're real good fun to watch, just to go, as a musician, to go, can't believe they're doing that. My personal take is go and have a look at Saro, S-A-R-O, when he did... I think it was the 2017 or 2018 Beatbox Championships, and he just dropped this absolute massive thing. What's amazing to me is that people can make your voice sound like you're in a club, like you're literally like a full dance track, and they're just dropping beats left, right, and centre. It's really, really good. So, yes, Pierce. Any thoughts? Lots of thoughts. Go get one. Go play with one. I think they're amazing. They're definitely for improvising. There's more hands-on. It's more hands-on for the effects. The alternative you could do is obviously get yourself a really good MIDI controller and MIDI control up the buttons to turn effects on and off for Loopy Pro, but then you're going to have to sit there and program it. I mean, you have to sit there and choose what effects you want on the file. I'm pointing over there because it's over there. The 505 anyway, but this thing is an amazing piece of kit. So... Let's hope it follows me back. There we go. It did. Yeah. Oop, 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 oop. There we go. So yeah, it's an amazing piece of kit. I would highly recommend it. And I like this LoopLab Mondays. I don't have to play as much. We're just talking. We're just having a chat. I like this. I thought of using that as a backing track machine, the RC2. However, it only has 16 minutes of record time. Okay. Here's a question for you. The RC2. Now, this is me being devil's advocate, so take this with a pinch of salt. But, yeah, okay. Doesn't matter. I was just having a look at it and I was like, could you use the RC2 as your looper and then the RC5 as something else? But you can't. I mean, the RC2 is just obviously the amount that it can do. Whoa, what happened there? Whoa, where are you going? Where are you going, son? This is me remote controlling with a. There we go. That's better. Goodness me, what happened there? Come on. It's like a angry thing. You have to control very, very, very carefully. There we go. Yeah, the RC2 obviously great for, as you say, samples and stuff. You can one shot, I think, if I remember correctly on that. So you could one shot, as you say, all your little phrases, but you've got to go with a little phrase thing. So yeah, maybe you could have it on like here. On like on a table, like as it literally go bang, like just hit it with your hand. Hit the button with your hand as opposed to with your foot. That'd be quite funny. You could do that. Yeah. Another thing about rhythms on the RC5, I wanted to use the TX out channel into a drum machine sequencer for more realistic drum sounds, such as complete kit will be insane. Well, you can. So you can send the out. Let me get this right. You can send the MIDI out. RC5, RC5, RC5. You can send. Right, before I start talking, give me one sec. Yeah, there we go. Controlling an external MIDI device with the RC5, transmitting tempo data and data for starting and stopping playback, transmitting program change messages. So you can send the RC5's performance tempo data transmitted to an external MIDI clock. So you can do it that way. Or you can play back start and stop operations. The RC5 switches over and can be transmitted with MIDI start and stop messages. When a memory is selected with the RC5, a program change message can correspond. If you want the MIDI synchronization performance to continue, even if the track stops, set the rhythm parameter stop to off. Oh, okay. The RC5 will synchronize the tempo and MIDI clock from external devices. Start-stops data will be received from switching memories. Okay, so you can connect two RC5 units together and then they talk to each other, but you can also send performance tempo data, but it won't send the individual rhythms, as it were. So you can't, I don't think you can grab the individual rhythms, which is a bit of a shame. But there we go. This is the best comment. Coming up next is the best comment of the night. Love that. I love playing with this. I feel like a radio DJ, like just playing silly noises. I like this one too. Crazy. There we go. Boing. You can set Loopy Pro up to work like a 505. Yes, of course you can. There's even a 707 template on there now, which is mad. Someone's done 7 tracks. Anyway, but the value proposition of the 5 hours is definitely the boss already most done all the work. This is it. They've done most of the work, and the thing is, it's also one unit. It's one piece of kit that you just plug in a microphone or your instruments and play. You may just need that here, and then on a like little stand, like I've got the Gigcaster, and then maybe just things like the FS1WL pedal. If you're playing guitar and you just want to click, with something. If your hands are free or you're playing keyboard, you can just go bang real quick. You've seen me do it, so it is well worth it, definitely. Absolutely. I'm glad I'm making people smile like that. That's quite good. Here's another one for you. How would you send the MIDI through signal data of the iPad to iRig MIDI 2, Morningstar to Boss? I can only get Morningstar and USB to separately with 5-pin data, with TRS MIDI 5. So what do you want? How would I get the MIDI through signal from the iPad? What I would do is I would do that Pierce might be able to help with this, but because Pierce obviously plays with Loopy Pro a lot and obviously plugs a lot of things in and out. But I'm not passing the buck, Pierce. Don't worry. Pierce needs to go live and do a couple of Q&As, I think. Personally, my brain's going iPad to Morningstar, and then that would only send the MIDI data though, so you would need something else, which of course is what the iRig is there for. It's the iRig MIDI 2, right? That's the one that's causing really the problem. Not the problem, but that's causing a situation where you can't transmit the data. It should be that's the thing that needs to be the through. And then Boss and Morningstar just talk to each other. That's not an issue. But USB and separately the rig, so it's a DIN 5 to mini TRS, yeah. So it should be, I mean, the thing is, you don't even need to use DIN 5. You could use like 1/4-inch jack to mini jack as long as it's TRRS. Oh, you said TRS. Yeah, TRS, apologies. Not TRRS, TRS. Brain's gone dead. Yeah, so do it that way. But then the MIDI 2, the iRig MIDI 2, is that also sending audio to as well? Because then it's sending a lot of information through it. But it should be that the iPad can do it. It depends on what's coming from the iPad where. But my brain's instantly going, I don't know why, but my brain's going iPad to Morningstar to Boss. Or you have it on different channels. So what you do is you basically go iPad and it's sending out different MIDI channels. So one MIDI channel is going to the bar to go into the. Hang on a minute. Why do you need the Morningstar? You need the Morningstar to talk to the Boss. Why do you need the MIDI 2 to talk to the Morningstar? That's confusing to me. Unless you're telling it to do things, that's probably the reason why. But yes, it could be the IK that's causing the problem there. Living did those can't. Inky is doing some mind, but yes, absolutely. But pile of work. This is it. I mean, creativity is one thing. You know, like you've seen me do this where I just jump on. I've done it before. Where I jumped on and I was like, what am I going to do today? And I'm going to do that. And that's what I did for Tuesday Tunes. And I'm just making stuff up. And that's what I do a lot. I do that little setup. I've got the 505 and I've got the Keylab underneath it with the iPad stand. And when I'm not using the iPad here, or when I do that for gigs or controlling things, then it's on there and using it for synthesizers, which is really, really cool. So it is one of those things for spontaneity and creativity. I'd say it's easier because you just plug in and go. And I've done entire gigs with just my voice with that, which is cool. Definitely. The APC 40 Mark II. Again, a lot of programming, but the good thing is that Michael's done quite a lot of the work for you already. And I've got a 40 Mark II sitting here, which we use every now and again. But yeah, absolutely. Definitely one or the other. You will find limitations with the 505, but you have to accept that because you're used to Loopy Pro. So you'll be like, I want that to talk to that. And you'll be like, and you need to figure that out. But also, again, 32-bit flow, really nice, really, really good. Seems to have all the right buttons, sliders, and knobs. Well, that's the thing with the 40. The APC 40's got too many. But that's just me. I use Pedal Train Classic 3. Got the RC2 near the top for occasional presses. Well, if you have a look at this, controversially, you can see that the 600 is on top of all my different pedals. I loop with that on top, and I've done it underneath, and I've pressed buttons by accident. I actually prefer, if I press the wrong effect on the TC Helicon, it doesn't matter. If I press the wrong button on here, then game over. So I prefer it on top. So we can press start and stop, and it's really definedly up there. And, you know, a little bit of leg exercises. But it depends. I mean, obviously, how you are. Some people prefer the RC600 or any looper, in fact, on the bottom because it's really close to their feet, and that's fine. And the only one that's close to my feet is the memory up and down here, and then the volume pedal, so I can go whack, 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 and change the volumes really quickly. There we go. That 707 template's great, but sadly it doesn't come with in-keys effect settings. No, it doesn't. Absolutely not. Can you run a DIN 5 from the iRig to the Morning Stars through? There you go. Told you Piers would get it straight away. I go live every Friday night at 8. Yeah. Right. Well, what I want everyone to do, if you're watching this on the replay or you're watching this live now, is when we finished, go to Pierce's YouTube channel, and you do this. You do that on YouTube as well, don't you? As well as you do on Facebook or as many YouTube. Go to Pierce's YouTube channel and go and subscribe. Simple as that. That's my little call to action. My other call to action, of course, is our today's sponsor, which is DistroKid. DistroKid is obviously a music distribution company, and you can get 7% off with that link. That was the quickest one ever, wasn't it? You do indeed, Pierce. I'm going to have to join in on Friday night, aren't I? I'm going to have to return the favour on Friday nights. My reason is I feel that this connection a lot more sturdy, physical than a Ugreen USB printer cable. That's true. It probably is. Depends on what you need. Yeah, I saw how you on Loopy Pro stream a couple of weeks back. Yeah. Definitely looked at it. Like to facilitate that kind of improv stuff that I'm thinking I'm missing on Loopy solely on the Loopy Pro X or Soft Step. Yeah, Soft Step's cool. Nice. And Pierce is on YouTube. So go to YouTube, go to Pierce Corley, and go and subscribe today. So there we go. We're coming up to the hour, so we've actually been here for 2 hours. I just want to thank everyone for their contributions. If you like this, you've got some information out of it, you like this format, then do me a favor, give this a thumbs up on the live stream. That really helps me. It helps the channel out. It tells the algorithm to go and push it out to more people. That would be really, really helpful. And then obviously if you really, really like my stuff, then the thing you can do on YouTube is you can become a YouTube member. The member system helps me out. It helps keep this channel alive. And by being a member, you get certain perks. I won't go into them right now, but you can see them all on there. If you go to the channel, the actual YouTube channel of John Paul Music UK, and then you can become a member for a couple of pounds a month. And then that way, that obviously comes to me, and it keeps me doing what I'm doing. So I just want to say thank you for obviously everyone's contributing. We've got one more comment here. RC5 is bottom left and harmonies. The harmony singer 2. See, I've wondered whether I should actually just use a harmony singer 2 instead of the TC Helicon voice like play acoustic. Catchy name. For years I used this left on time now. I have bad knots in my upper leg. I will sub to Piers. You have experienced that. There we go. Wicked. Amazing. Fantastic. Well, guys, thank you very much for obviously joining. If you're watching on the replay, then we've got loads of replays of obviously the live streams helping you on LoopLab Mondays. LoopLab Mondays is here literally for you, so you can actually figure out maybe some answers like we've done today with obviously an RC5. We've got an RC2 playing duck noises. It's amazing. So thank you very much. Have a fantastic evening. And obviously, if you're watching this on a replay, then come and watch some more. Come and join us on a Monday afternoon. Thank you very much. Have a good day. I was about to turn things off and then I saw that. That's absolutely lovely. Thank you so, so much.